It's shit like this from Big Mike Van Wyck. I'll tell you what, I have really been loving these short, efficient workouts as of late. So we're talking like 2, maybe 3 exercises per workout, 2 sets tops per exercise. Just get in, hit it hard, get out. Today we've got legs, which is going to be Bulgarian split squats, everybody's favorite. We've got some stiff leg deadlifts, I believe, and I think there's like a sissy squat or reverse Nordic quad exercise of some sorts. And if we have time, we'll squeeze some abs in as well. Although today, Bianca is coming in for her leg day, and she thinks it's pretty heavy weights, so I want to make sure that I'm giving her my full attention when we're training, so I can't be doing my own workout. But I'll be capturing that for you guys, or you can see a little bit as to what she's getting up to as well with her training. And it should be a good day. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not to say that I think doing such low volumes is the best approach for everybody. I will say though, there have been times in the past where I've just chased more and more and more work and it hasn't paid off. Where I would think 10 sets works really well in the gym. What if I did 20? That would then double my results, or maybe not double, but at least cause a significant increase. And it simply wasn't the case, where I would have seen just as good a gains, if not even less gains, by doing more work, because quantity does not always mean quality. You only have so much of a recovery capacity, and if you're constantly digging into it by doing more work, you're not going to stimulate more gains out of that. You're just stimulating more recovery debt, which is probably even harder to recover from, and that's where things like injuries, aches, and pains, they just start creeping up, and all of a sudden you realize, I'm doing everything right, why is this not getting the results that I want? Couple of tips that I like to think about for Bulgarian split squats. First of all, Zercher is absolutely not necessary. Something that I just like to do. I started doing the Zerchers a few years ago after I sprained a facet joint in my lower back, and I wasn't able to do rear barbell loading that comfortably. So I started doing Zercher instead because it was a lot more friendly on the lower back. I was also training in my garage at the time. Didn't have a squat rack, didn't have dumbbells to grab by my sides or anything like that. I just had a barbell and I wanted to add in some load. And Zercher, more comfortable than a front rack position. And again, that comfort just felt really, really good. But you do lose out a fair bit on balance. So you'll see when I get to my next set here, it's probably not ideal from a balance perspective. If I was doing it for pure size and not just for the preference of wanting to get strong on a Zercher, I'd be using a dumbbell. I also use a pole to support myself with, which you may have seen in the past if you've been watching for a while. Just give yourself that stability as much as possible on something like this. But back to the Bulgarian specifically, one thing that helps a ton is to not neglect that back leg. Okay, a lot of people treat this as a pure single leg movement, like we're doing like a pistol squat or something like that, when this leg isn't just there for a little bit of balance. What this leg should be doing is going through some flexion at the knee and extension at the knee, just like you'd be doing on a leg extension or on a sissy squat kind of motion. So doing that gives you a bit more stability through the pelvis, because I know a lot of people will find that they start to rotate even with the best intentions. And it's usually because that back leg is just floppy and flaccid. If you lock it in place and help use it to stabilize your pelvis better, you'll get much better output from this front leg, and you can push it much harder. A lot of the time when you see somebody with a really impressive split squat in both strength and development of their legs, it's going to be them using that rear leg alongside the front leg and not just the front leg. All the other things you see with people saying like, oh, tip forwards more for more glutes, or be more upright and more knee flexion for more quads, those things definitely play out some to a degree, but for the most part, I just say just use what's most comfortable. Keep it simple, find what is most comfortable and what you can push the hardest on, because everything else will start to take care of itself long term. Oh. 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 Oh, fuck. Big thing there is definitely balance, which we know is not ideal. And this is something where I'd be able to achieve closer to muscular failure had I used a more balanced option. But I'm also comfortable with not getting that point. Can always squeeze another set in, which I will do, but also hit that in another exercise down the ways. As long as I'm progressing on this, it's happy days. Tell you what though, there's not many exercises that are quite as devilish as a Bulgarian split squat. So I do recommend on any single leg exercise, any single-sided exercise, take some rest between legs. Treat that as one individual set, take a rest, and then do the other side. Oh. Because systemically, cardiovascularly, neurally, mentally, your body's like, what the fuck just happened to me, bro? Even if you don't do the Zercher variation, like, fuck. Oh, that kills. Oh. Stiff leg deadlifts next. We are doing a snatch grip, so a wider grip, not a true snatch. This serves the same purpose as being on a deficit, so you can get more range of motion. Otherwise, if I was doing a regular grip, I'd have to be standing up on elevation to reach that full stretch of my hamstrings. Other benefit to this snatch grip is you get a lot more through the back muscles here, through like your lower to mid back, and the upper back through the rhomboids and traps as well, suffice to stabilize you in that slightly protracted or forward shoulder position. Really underrated benefit, but it's why you see so many Olympic lifters, they've got these thick cables running up and down there like they're deep erectors, but especially through the upper back, which you don't see a lot in a lot of other lifters, even bodybuilders. Big things I'm thinking about here are pushing my hips back as far as possible, but also allowing, I don't know if you can even see it in the camera here, but my pelvis to tip anteriorly. So imagine this, my pelvis here, it's like a cup of, I think a glass of wine. I'm tipping that wine forwards as much as I can to pre-stretch the hamstrings and to pour the wine out in front of my body. Often things like this, no bad thing, don't anteriorly tilt your pelvis, but this is a really beneficial thing to stretch out the hamstrings, take your muscles through more of a range of motion. These postures, they're not good or bad, right or wrong, as some people believe. They're just positions your body may or may not have available to it. And if you don't have it available to you, it might be a good idea to try to access more of that over time, because just like strength, the more control you have, the more mobility you have, it's usually going to be a good thing. All right, finishing off with some sissy squats. I rotate this exercise every week, whether it's sissy squats or it's a reverse Nordic or even just a leg extension. And I play a little bit of my setups as well. Because by this point, I've done, let's say 70% of my main quad work from the Bulgarians. And we've already accounted for the fact that, yes, it's unstable, I can't push as hard as I physically could there. This is the finishing touch. I've already received more than enough of the growth stimulus from those sets. So now this is adding definitely a lot more in a more stable environment, in a much larger range of motion that I'm not getting on those Bulgarians. So we're hitting both bases really nicely here. And the same thing applies if I was doing a leg extension or reverse Nordic, just some kind of isolation quad exercise. And not to mention, I didn't mention this before, but this is my second leg day of the week. So my other leg day of the week, I've got Zercher squats, leg curls to hit the other action of the hamstrings, and drawing a blank, a couple more movements. You'll see a very similar kind of leg day to what that leg day looks like a few videos back, but I'll do an update on it because it has changed a little bit. But yeah, Sissy Squats, classic exercise, really underrated. I've been playing with a few different setups. I'll maybe put a few videos here to show you guys some of the ideas I've been working with to try loading it a little bit more. Got some really interesting ideas from one of our Gambaro coaches, Alec Blennis, doing some cool things on the landmine. I haven't played with that just yet, but I am looking forward to trying that one out as well. Hi. Oh, agony. Agony. So what is today's plan? How much are you going to go for?
Up to you, boss.
I personally like to see 120 for like 5 or 6.
Shit.
Whether you do that just as the ones that you work towards and just nail that, or if you did like, you know, a 130 for a single and then 120 for the 5 or 6, a sec 2. I don't care what else happens. 120 for 5 or 6 is the goal.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
As like if it's a good day for you, that's what you have in you.
Yeah.
In terms of like your potential strength is there for that. If all things like I'm moving well and feeling good, there's no reason why I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So it's about how you want to approach it. Brace tight. Brace. Go. Yes. Time. Each one's an individual raise. Brace tight. Control. Up. Yes. Good start. Big breath. Reset. Take your time. Heels down. Up. Good. And again. Open the hips up. Big breath in. Brace tight. Heels down. Go. Yes. Better one. Good one. Reset. Take your time. Heels down. Open. Brace. Up. Yes. One more. Big breath. Come on, baby. Big breath. Heels down. Go. Yes. Yes. That was good. Do you feel like you're going to get it? Is there uncertainty behind your rep?
Uncertainty?
Yeah, like that last rep where you're like, I might not get this.
Nah, I never think that.
Right. It was just like, it's just fucking hard and it's grinding.
Yeah.
It's like, just squeezing out that last inch of poop.
Literally, yeah. And I think as well, like, don't get me wrong, I do have that uncertainty, but like, you just have to push it to the side or you don't get it. Like, literally, you just have to push it to the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you had uncertainty in the past? Like, not even here, but I mean like years ago when you approached lifting differently?
Yeah, but that was more so of like a language thing for me. Like, it was just like, you know, you're weak, yeah.
Right,
like
you would say that to yourself.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, at a certain point, you need to change the way you talk to yourself to achieve a certain level. And that level's different for everybody. Like for you, it could be 120 and above. Other people could be triple body weight and above.
Yeah. I think as well, you probably like notice, it's probably the only thing that's getting to me now is just my head. Whereas like sometimes it's like, it's good, but then like, I'll be like, feel like shit, you're like, let's go.
Yes, yeah. No, nobody cares, Bianca. Nobody cares. Yeah, fucking lifting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And then we measure.
Am I trying to force myself to reach or just
Yes, because you would when you jump, you will reach up as well. So yeah, go as high as you can.
Yeah.
Good stuff. 40.
One more thing before we get out of here, and this is something that has been on my mind a little bit more recently. It's been really pissing me off, and let me tell you, it takes a lot to piss me off. It's shit like this from Big Mike Van Wyck. Now, it's not a dig at the guy personally, it's more about the negativity, the baseless, schoolyard bully tactics that people will use to disparage other people instead of focusing on open discussions and debates and maybe even positivity coming from some arguments and disagreements which are bound to happen within this industry, particularly between professionals. Now, I'd love your input on this, so please hear me out, and then if you want to give comments, drop them below. But long story short, I posted an exercise from my workout the other day to Instagram, and he doesn't agree with it, which is totally fair. Not everything I do is made for everybody. If you've even made it this far into the video, you've just seen my leg day, and I said in the leg day, hey, this is why I do this exercise. I would not recommend other people do it this way. Now, I am very intentional and careful in my wording when I talk about these kinds of things, whether it's in long form like I've just done, or if it's in short form content that I know has a higher potential to go viral. Because as a trainer, the last thing I want is for some kid to watch this and get FOMO and think, oh my God, this is the one exercise that's gonna build fucking mass on my triceps in half the time with half the effort. Fuck yeah, I've got to do this now and rearrange my whole workout. That's not what I'm about. I'm not that guy. But as a professional, instead of sharing his thoughts and insights as to why he thinks this is not an ideal exercise for most people, he goes straight to a personal insult, to an ad hominem that has no relevance to the subject at debate here, which is whether or not this exercise is really worth doing. And this is what really pisses me off, not because it's an attack on my outfits, because that's got no relevance, but because it just creates more negativity and more animosity, and we're already in such a niched, weird industry. We don't need more of this, especially between professionals. So Mike, I really want to know your thoughts because I respect what you do. You're an intelligent coach. You're very articulate. You clearly walk the walk and you know what you're doing. So for you to give your insights like this would be incredibly valuable, not just to me, but to everybody else. So you can see, okay, where are the contexts where this could be completely useless? And I'll probably agree with you. I'll be the first to say, hey, this exercise with the bench is probably not necessary for most people. Just do it standing overhead. You like doing it single arm. That's a great idea as well. I do that too. If I want to save time and do double arm, I'm going to do double arm. If I want to have extra stability because I can set it up, I'm going to set it up that way. But hey, who am I to give this advice? Who's this trail hiker? I'm a trainer like you, Mike. I've been in bodybuilding for a very, very long time at a high level. I've been even working on your home turf with bodybuilders, helping them wherever I can. Now, granted, even though I've helped other people get their pro cards, I haven't got my pro card like you have in the past, Mike. But this ain't exactly my first rodeo. And you don't see me coming around saying, who's this tatted up tough guy trying to tell me how to train? Because I know that that's just not a productive discussion to have. I don't want to be pulling people down and creating camps like this unnecessarily. So I DM'd Mike, and he gave me a little bit more as to why he thinks it's a waste of time. But when I pushed back on it and said, okay, well, some of these points I don't really believe in, which is totally cool. We are both allowed to have different opinions. He likes chocolate ice cream, I like vanilla ice cream. It doesn't matter. There are so many different flavors of ice cream and ways to train out there. But that's what the focus should be on. We should be discussing these nuances and saying, this is useless because, I don't like this because, and it's not because of your tatted up head, and it's not because of my choice to wear hiking boots and trail pants in the gym. We should be judging things based on their merits and that alone. We're just conduits of information and our own experiences to say, hey, this is what's worked really well for me. This is what I enjoy. This is what might work for you, but might also be useless. Take it and do what you like with it. I don't think this is really that much more complicated than a preacher curl. There's definitely no more injury risk than any other exercise, assuming you're doing appropriate loading, unless there's something I haven't considered. So please tell me. And it's just nothing. And this is what I'm talking about. If you can't have these deeper discussions and debates with peers in the industry to try to better your understanding or try to help them, i.e. me, get a better understanding of his perspective because I want to learn that, then why go straight down to the personal insults and attacks? It's just not productive, it's not helpful. It creates a bigger divide and more negativity and more hate. And look, I think that's the last thing we need in this industry.